farm. It's been about 4 or 5 days since I put the cow manure in, and this has 2 levels in it. And if I just take the lid off, we'll see what's going on here. I'm trying to keep it moist, and the liquid down here in the bucket's really brown because it's got a lot of cow manure in the top levels now. And I've just got some rice and some sprouts in here at the moment, and they're coming to the top and feeding on it. From what I can see, if we just lift this up here, you can see there's quite a lot of worms, and when they're crossing over each other, that means that they're breeding. So they're being fairly active, and my whole idea was to move them up to start feeding in this second level here. So there's not so in the first top level, so there's not so many in this second level, which is attached to the tap down here, which I need to take off now. Just taking off this second level, and they're hitting the sunlight now, so they're going to be going back down to the bottom. But I need to start digging this out and start collecting this casting. It's just pure worm casting now. It's broken down from into a compost, but it originally was, the bedding was originally mushroom compost. So it's all been eaten, it's moist, and I better get in there. Now, one thing I've noticed is these little shells that appear, but they seem to be getting less and less for some reason. So I'm doing something a little bit better. I think they come along with the worms at the time. So I'm going to get in there and start scooping up the worm castings now and get these worms out at the same time. I've got all the worms out in this bucket now. I'll have to sift through them and get most of them out. I won't be able to get all of them, but I'll get, close, and I'll get a fair bit of mushroom compost. And I've just gone and started adding this organic mushroom compost to the bag, from the bag into my worm farm here. Now I have to pour all this back through, or I'll probably use this on the garden, and then I'll come back and I've got some already pre-made that doesn't have any chlorine in it whatsoever. I've set it sit overnight for a day and a half, and I've even bubbled it for an hour in the aerator, so it's not going to have anything, and this will get nice and moist through. And the worms will be back in here shortly to consume this and provide me with more liquid tea like this, and more nice mushroom compost for my tomatoes and different container gardens, different container plants that are going to be through my patio garden. So I've been out into the patio, and I've collected the worms from the worm farm. Now I had to dig it all out and then refill it up with mushroom compost again on that second level. That's the night time or their sleeping bed, but they still go through and eat that and consume that. Usually you pick up most of your castings from the top, but once they've gone through the second level as well, you have to remove it. So what I'm going to do is, if you've been watching the other videos that I've made, I'm going to pile it all up, and hopefully they're all going to climb down to the bottom. I'm going to scoop it off the top, and I'm going to save this worm castings. Well, like, you wouldn't believe that was mushroom compost. It was about probably 6 months ago that I put it in there, but this stuff is so amazingly fertile, and I'm going to be planting it in with the new dwarf cherry tomatoes, and also in my other parts of my container garden, because you can see I've got a full bucket load here. And I've also been down to the old vegetable garden where I started a community garden that never really took off, and collected some compost there to mix through it as well with the A-grade quality potting mix. I'm going to have something really, really powerful to grow really great food on my patio, and that's going to hold so much moisture in those pots that it's not going to dry out real quickly either, which is great stuff. So I'm going to pile it up now, and I'm probably going to have to let it sit for at least half an hour. Hopefully my patients will be able to handle that long. I'll just watch them as they go down the bottom and scoop up bits that I can while I'm waiting. Okay, and we'll see you in a minute once I get into there a bit. A lot of people may say that this is a lot of work and hard work, and well, it's not really if you don't mind, getting your hands a little bit dirty, and you can wear gloves. So I have worn gloves from time to time, but I just, you're not supposed to handle the worms too much, so because the oil on your hands actually affects them, so I try to do that as less as possible. So I find that they're all burrowing down now, and what I'm learning is if I spread it to the sides a bit, they crawl back to the middle part as well. So I'm just making little lumps for them to crawl out of and crawl back into the middle part. It is a little bit time productive because we don't have any type of proper worm sieves and things like that they use, you know, in production worm farming. So anyway, I'm learning as I'm going along. I've done this a few times. I'm just trying to make it better and better and show you guys the mistakes that I've been doing, etc. Now, after I just filled the worm farm up, the mushroom compost, I had to go out with the water, the dechlorinated water, and just fill it up again and let it run through. It'll drain right through, and some of the worms that were left in there will be less stressed. There were quite a lot in the topper levels. And I'm going to take some out of here again, some worms out of here. I'm going to put about half back, and I'm going to create another little worm farm. And we're going to show you in a little while a little mini worm farm that you can make for kids, that you can do at home, and just to teach them how to actually use one. So I'll show you shortly. In Marty's next video, he shows you how to use a plastic water bottle to turn it into a kid's worm farm or a way to store and move worms around, and also discusses some other cool ways how you can use this very type of water bottle that is easy, accessible, and found all around the globe. So hang around for this next video. It's going to be coming soon, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out for this one and many more on the way, and I'll see you real soon. Bye for now.